Welcome to Let's Talk About Real Estate, the podcast for real estate agents everywhere. You are now part of a group of real estate agents and entrepreneurs who want to make a difference in their lives. People who are looking for ways to create hacks into the real estate profession in order to make more sales and at the same time have more time off. Agents are realizing that the old ways simply aren't working for them anymore. They are working far too many hours and most don't enjoy a work-life balance. Get ready to explore ways to hack your real estate life. I'm Lisa B. So Rick Serrao, Raine & Horne Double Bay, thank you so much for joining me today.
Pleasure, Lisa. Thanks for reaching out.
I really appreciate it. I've got so many questions for you, but first of all, I'd just like to give our listeners a little bit of a background about you. So you have over 30 years experience in real estate. You're Raine & Horne's #1 agent, both in Australia and internationally. 2020 top 3 REB agent in Australia with nearly $294 million in total sales. Stats according to REB, sold 116 properties with an average price of $2.5 million, and your average days on market is 39 days. That's incredible. Fantastic. That's why I've got you on here today, so we can pick your brain and find out everything you know about real estate so you can share it with everybody else. So what would you say is the key to your success in listing?
What is my key to success in listing? I think that personally, so I think in real estate, we've all got a diversity of personalities, which is great because our clients are quite diverse. But I've always said that a good lister should be a good listener. And I find often when I go to appraisals with many others, agents tend to be very good order takers sometimes, or they're very quick to tell everything, but not actually to listen to what's going on and what the client's thinking. So I'd like to think, my wife will disagree, but when it comes to listings, I'd like to think that I am a good listener. And more importantly, I think that I'm also tend to be, as a lot of agents are, quite flexible in strategy. So rather than just constantly just push the auction, if we need to deviate from that a little bit and be a bit creative, I do. So I think being a very good lister has to be a skill set that is learned.
Yeah, and listening. Awesome. Okay, and what tips would you give about lead generation?
Tips about lead generation. Okay, in terms of
listing.
In terms of how to get leads, how to generate leads, or
yes.
Okay, or in terms of things that we're doing specifically, or
yeah, just any tips. Like if an agent's now struggling to get listings, like they don't have listing leads at all, what would you do?
Okay, so if it was me and I was looking for leads at the moment, what would I approach? I would first and foremost, I think, get to know your product at the end of the day. So there's no point if you're pitching for #1 ABC Street and you don't know what's been selling around you. I think product knowledge is really important. I think chasing expireds are also very, very important, and getting your brand out there or your name out there. So whoever you work for, at the end of the day, that is your company brand. But I also think you need to grow your personal brand. Now, whether you stick to print, as many of us still do, in terms of the old letterbox drops and everything else, or whether you're using social media, I think there's a window for both. We tend to have quite a big spend on the social media side of things in terms of listing ads and what have you.
Okay, that's what's working for you best now, social media?
Yes. Yeah, I would suggest to you that there's no excuse not to do the basics. So we will still do the just listers and the just solds and the letters and what have you. But your social footprint is, to me, the big thing. I mean, everyone used to go on about carbon footprint. Now I think it's your social footprint. Which I've got to say, I'm learning every day from people. I'm not particularly good at it, but I try and embrace certain things.
Yeah, absolutely. It's changed a lot, hasn't it? Real estate's
Yes.
changed a lot in 30 years. From microfiche to social media to internet. Yes.
Well, I'll never forget my old boss when the internet was coming in, and I'll never forget his words. I love him dearly. He was a great mentor, but he did say, "Oh, this internet thing, don't worry about it. I've been through many of these things before. It won't last." And you look back on it now, and it's just changed all our lifestyles in so many different ways.
I remember having a meeting with my staff saying, do you think we should get a website or not? You know, and that was the point of the meeting, was to whether or not we should get a website. Yeah, anyway, all these young ones now, they don't know how good they've got it, really.
I just
Okay.
think from a also from a lead generation, what we've been doing, and I pinched this idea from someone else. I can't remember who it was. It was in a talk somewhere. But what we've had a lot of success with is actually, because we've got a rent roll, is getting lists of tenants that have come through open houses, and just finding out why they're moving. And often you'll find out that the landlord's selling and hasn't appointed an agent. So that's been a good little goldmine for us, especially with COVID, and where you've got a lot of landlords that have had to readjust their rents.
Yes, of course. Oh, that's a good tip. Awesome. Okay. And what would your tips be for the perfect listing presentation? Thank you for joining us at Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast. Now, if you would like to hear the rest of this interview, then join us at realestatetrainingcommunity.com.au, which is www.realestatetrainingcommunity.com.au, where you'll find the rest of this amazing interview, plus loads and loads of other interviews, resources, training, everything you need to be successful in your real estate career. So join us there, and we'll see you then.